right, welcome everybody back to another Howell Wildlife Photography Convention live stream. I'm here live with the co-organizer, Steve Dunsford. Steve, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Awesome, super. Well, it looks like we're live. We're about a handful of minutes late there, just a little bit of a tech hiccup, but we're on. We're beaming all over the world here, all over the internet. Welcome everybody.
Awesome.
Welcome everybody to the stream. So you're going to be showing us some early winter photography from your portfolio here today. But before we jump into that, I just want to show everybody the updated version of our Howell PhotoCon website. So right now, of course, we have John E. Marriott right now is our headlining speaker, and we've got he was generous enough to allow us to use a handful of his images on our website to promote the convention. So honestly, giving out a shout out to John E. Marriott. We have one viewer here, Alan. Hi, it's me, Alan from Twitch. Alan, so nice to have you here today. I hope you're having a good time. Alan watches a lot of video games that I play over at the Bongo Picks live stream. This is a different live stream, a little bit of a different tone and a different pace. This is a photography live stream, so I hope you're ready to sit back and enjoy some really amazing photography by my business partner here, Steve Dunsford. And so, yes, the dates for Howell 2023, we got November 3rd, 4th, and 5th, 2023. How many tickets have we sold so far, Steve?
5 so far since the last time I looked, which is great.
That's amazing. Yeah. Our last convention was in October, towards the end of October 2022. Between then and now, we've already sold 5 tickets. We have a capacity of 40 howlers, 40 attendees. So if you're sitting out there and you don't want to miss a chance to attend Howell, definitely consider visiting our website. If you go to howellphotocon.com, all you got to do is look for, I've got these orange buttons all over our website. Just click on any of these buttons. I'll show you what that looks like when I do that right here. And then we're using a ticketing platform called RSVPify. And then there's a review of all of the information from our website on our RSVPify portal. And then, of course, if you just go over here, click to the right, that's where you can click on that and go ahead and whether you want to pay for a 50% deposit of a ticket, which is 250 Canadian plus fees, and then the full ticket being 500. So plus fees as well. And just for your information, with the fees, it's $526.54. And then, of course, and that's for the total ticket. And we're going to do a virtual Howl again. We had about a handful of people attend our virtual presentation this year, and they very much enjoyed it. We live streamed our keynote speeches as they were taking place, and so that way people were able to attend virtually, and it was a really, really fantastic experience for all the virtual attendees. And I'm just quickly going to go over our 2022 alumni that we had present this year. We had Chris Gilmore, who is a tracking specialist, a wilderness educator, and a crisis management consultant as well, who spoke a lot about tracking. We had Connor Thompson. Let me just go back to Connor's slide here, who is a wolf researcher. We learned a lot about wolves at Connor's presentation. Melissa Grew, one of the top photographers working today. And then we had Michael Runts, one of Canada's most renowned naturalists, speak. And then probably one of the top horse photographers in the world, we also had Sandy Sharkey also present. So that was our amazing dynamic lineup of 2022. And of course, as I mentioned, our headliner will be John E. Marriott. We are currently consulting with speakers right now, and we will release our the other headliners, the other keynote speakers within the next month or 2. So stay tuned for all those updates. If you check into the Howell PhotoCon socials, that's where we'll update you with who the other speakers will be following John E. Marriott. Right on. Any other things that you wanted to mention about our past convention, Steve, or the upcoming one?
Well, I was really happy with how everything went. It was very smooth, and Everybody seemed to really have a great time. Utilizing the 3 venues worked quite well for the food at the restaurant, the entertainment nightlife at the Bongo Picks, and their presenters were at the community center, all within walking distance. And
Yeah.
I mean, we learned a lot from the first one, which we kind of figured we would. And then unfortunately we had to wait a couple years, but I think it was definitely worth the wait.
Oh yeah, it was worth the wait. I'm also glad that we did decide to do it in person. I know we tossed around the idea of doing an all virtual with that lineup of speakers, but we thought, you know what, with the amount of talent that we have, it'd be really nice to bring it all into one room in a physical location.
Yeah, that's a big part of, I think, of what Howl is about the in-person mingling and, you know, making connections and new friends, and it's really hard to do that virtually from all over the place. It's definitely an event. I mean, if you have to sign up for the virtual one because you can't come in to Whitney, that's fine, but generally it's a really good in-person event.
It is. It really is. Yeah. And the social, it's a pretty small and intimate convention. So networking is a big thing that we want people to be able to enjoy, as well as just gaining all the knowledge and inspiration from all of the keynote presentations as well. And right on our website, we have our itinerary as well. There's a tab where you can click on itinerary, and that'll show you the layout and the flow of how our 2023 Howl will unfold. 5 keynote presentations, 2 guided hikes, and 1 interactive Q&A panel is what you'll be experiencing. With the price of admission, now accommodation is not provided, so please do book your accommodation in advance if you are attending Howl. And Alan on YouTube says, aren't you glad I'm here, not just on Twitch? Alan, I'm so glad that you have a YouTube account so that you can enjoy some Bongo live streams, not just on Twitch, but here on YouTube. Right on. Awesome. All right. Well, we're gathering here today virtually to look at some of Steve's early winter photography photos. So let's jump into the portfolio here. I'm gonna full.
The only issue I have is I can't see them on my YouTube app. So if you just tell me what the photo is.
Oh, really? It didn't load on your phone there?
No. So I have no idea why.
Oh, really? Did you look at? If you just search for Howl PhotoCon. Take a look.
I found our one for last year, but the live one didn't pop up like tonight's.
Weird. I can see it. Let's see. In the general search, just type in Howl PhotoCon. Alan, how did you find us today? That's okay. I can also just explain what photo we're looking at.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, that'll work. You'll have to show me how to find it.
No worries. No worries at all.
Technology, right?
Hey, yeah, I know, right? Yeah. And I mean, you were born in a different era too, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that you can even figure out as much technology as you have is an amazing feat. So honestly, I pat yourself on the back.
Thanks.
Yes. So we're looking at this is a photo here. Is it a raven or a crow? And it looks like it's about to land on a treetop.
Oh, okay. That's a raven. And first of all, what I wanted to say about the early winter theme is early winter is something that has changed a lot over the last, even since I've moved up to here in the last 28 years.
Yeah.
Early winter, when I first moved up, would have been late October, first few 2 or 3 weeks of November. I remember in those winters, sometimes you'd be able to go out snowmobiling or skiing mid-November or so, or by the 3rd week. And now we have about an inch or 2 on the snow on the ground, and it's still almost Christmas and it's still early winter. Yeah. So I mean, it's certainly that's really definitely changed. I think it's an unfortunate change because it's showing the global climate change. But what I really like about early winter photography is that it's a nice change of the snow falling and the ice freezing up, you have all the different seasons, and it's a real nice transition into the full winter season. You start to have an interesting backdrop for wildlife photos, where your animals will have a little bit of snow on them, which is kind of neat, and the trees too. You start to see that.
Yeah.
And what's really good is just before, it's for a few weeks, usually lasts, where the lakes and streams haven't frozen up, so you're getting snow on the ground and on the trees, but you're still getting really neat reflections of it in the water. And then of course eventually, like now, I think most of the lakes around here have, or at least the small lakes, have froze up. I'm not sure about Lake of Two Rivers and Opiongo and that, but and that's you get some amazing landscape photos with really neat reflections of the snow on the trees. That's really exciting time. You don't really get that in the spring so much during the melt, unless you get a late or an early spring snowfall. But it's an exciting time in the early winter season. So anyway, the Raven, I was just actually stopped and to do some like long lens landscape shots. I use my 150 to 500. Normally I would use like 24 to 105 or a wide angle lens, and it's kind of neat to use a different method, and that's what I was doing. It was after a snowfall in the early winter, and I was photographing actually some of the stream and a beaver dam sort of to the left of where those trees are, and then I saw this movement inside of my eyes, and it was a raven flying. So I turned and I started taking shots, and it landed right into those trees and the tops of those trees, and it just it was a photo that just really worked well. I think I really like it, and
absolutely. And I love that moment of anticipation of the bird. You caught it just before it perches on the tree, and I really like that it's so in the middle of the action, right? That's amazing. And
it just.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that's okay. And it was like I wouldn't have got that scene if I hadn't been using my long lens for landscape.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. That is definitely the appeal of early winter photography, is you're getting all of the white from the snow, but you're still seeing a lot of those faded colors, those browns, the water, of course, you can see that. So it's that amount of contrast between all of those tones and all of the white snow, but it's not all covered in frosting snow, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it is and that window of time can be quite short, right? Because once you get 3 big snowfalls, boom, it's just everything is white, right?
Everything's covered.
Yeah. Very good.
This year we had a early snowfall actually in late October, and during what we call the golden encore season, where the tamaracks were really vivid, and that's even more exciting for landscape when you get that. You have that really nice golds and yellows, and then you get the snow on everything else, and the really nice reflections because the water hasn't frozen yet. The ice isn't on the lakes.
100%, yeah. And early winter happening, what would you say, about 4 weeks late now?
It's kind of been a prolonged early winter. It started in that first snowfall in October, and then we've had snow and melt for 6 weeks now. So
I feel like
it's
like it snowed and melted a handful of times, right?
And it's looking better for the real winter season. We've got a good snowfall supposedly coming up in the next couple of days, and then one next weekend for Christmas too. So definitely for this area for winter activities, we need some snow for skiing and snowshoeing, and the snowmobile sport is a big thing for this area too. So we definitely want to get on from early winter to real winter soon.
Yeah, for sure. You're telling me. Bring it on. Bring on the snow. Bring on the winter. Okay, the next photo that we're looking at here, this is... Ooh, it's a view... I don't know of what lake this might be. But it is... How do I describe this one here? It's very blue. There's a lot of blue tones in this one. And I just don't know what lake this might be.
That's okay.
Yeah. Well,
It's just a landscape.
Yeah, we're still in landscapes here. Yeah, Alan says, unfortunately, I can't stay long. That's okay, Alan. No, you go whenever you need to go. If you got to take care now, that's totally fine. We thank you so much for joining us tonight. There's about, what are they, balsams? Either a balsam tree or, not sure what kind they are. Let's go to the next one here to see if there's anything else.
Okay, these are just, the landscapes are just examples sort of early winter where you still get the reflections. I think that one might have been on Opiongo, that possibly the blue one. But
it could be. What this photo really demonstrates is that intense reflection in the water.
Yeah.
And it is really cool.
Oh, okay. Or maybe that's Brewer Lake. That might be one that I took this year.
Yeah, that could be Brewer.
Yeah, there's like the three trees in the foreground there.
That's right. That's exactly the one.
Yeah.
That's Brewer Lake. Okay.
Yeah, so that was earlier in November, and after one of the bigger snowfalls that we had, and it was right at sunset. It's actually just after sunset. And
cool.
So you get the amazing colors in it, like the different colors of the trees that don't have leaves, and then it just looked really neat that those spruces in the foreground were all had a lot of snow on them. So it was, I thought it was pretty cool, and that's very typical. That's why is exciting about early winter, where you still do get the reflections too.
Yeah. Right on. And you said that was taken this year, yeah?
Yeah, at Brewer Lake.
Awesome. Okay, the next one I'm looking at here, this I think is the Lake of Two Rivers Island, probably.
Yep.
And it's a panoramic.
Oh, yes. Okay, that was another one from earlier in November this year.
Yeah.
And it's after a light snowfall, and it's just exciting to again demonstrate the reflection, and just that, it's the heavy snowfall too is kind of neat but it's just slightly different.
Yeah, and the island is quite green too.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's mostly like pine trees and spruce.
Yeah.
On that island.
The background is more snowy than the island, it seems like, when I'm looking at this one here.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. And it really makes the island pop.
Yeah, it does. And then you also get like sort of like an ice fog on stuff sometimes. We've had that a couple times in the last few weeks, where you get like the really cold temperatures and get like an ice fog happening, and then all the trees get like this. It's different than like freezing rain ice on the trees, and it's really neat. It's a really neat effect, and sometimes it only lasts a few hours, and if it's cold enough, it'll last much longer. But yeah,
very cool. Right, moving on to the next one here. This one is a little bit more snowy. It looks like either a swamp or a river. And
that's the one on Opiongo, I think.
Okay. It was quite frosty.
Yeah, that was, I think, last year, and it was the same time period, I think, as right now, actually, maybe earlier in December.
Yeah.
And it was like a big, just after one of our big early snowfalls, and it's just kind of neat. Like the whole winter just offers such an interesting opportunities for then like the fall has its thing, and then summer it's just green. It's just another opportunity to get different types of landscapes.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm happy that you say that, because some people just think that you have to be here in autumn, and that's it. Like, that's the most
Oh,
beautiful, right? Oh, that's the most beautiful time of year. But no, it's like there's so much more beauty beyond just fall colors.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and it's like you get it's just a whole different, like that one of Brewer Lake. It's like it's so much color in it, and yet there's no leaves on the trees other than on the evergreens, right?
Yeah.
And just it's just so neat, and it is an amazing time. And that's what, another thing that we're trying to do with how convention is to get people up here off season, and same with all, we're, as businesses, we're working towards trying to get people up here too in the slower season. The slower season is good because it's not as busy as it's not like the crazy fall or the summertime.
Yeah.
And there is lots to do, and there is lots to see, and it's a really nice landscape. And yeah, there aren't quite as many animals and birds around, but you actually can see tracks, which is kind of exciting too. Like, we've been seeing in the last few weeks lots of wolf tracks, moose tracks, otter, beaver, and there is some birds around. So yeah, it's definitely an exciting time to be up here in this area.
100%. Oh, look at this. We've got a message from Buddha Monkey. Hello from Bracebridge. It's Kate here.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, Kate was one of our virtual attendees actually this year. So hey, Kate, it's wonderful to see you.
Hey, Kate.
Yes, Steve and I say hello, giving you warm virtual hugs from across the park. Thanks for joining us this evening. We're looking at some early winter photography here from Steve Dunsford's portfolio. All right, let's go to the next one here. This one is, it's kind of like a swamp or river with a very thin film of ice.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got like a green, yellowy tone to it.
Yeah, that's during freeze up.
Yeah.
And you get those, you do get that in the water. It's just from, I'm not sure why, but it happens, right? I'm sure there's a reason, but and that's like, it's not, so that just shows that it's not all white snow. Like, there's just different tones, and and also the shadows too. That's one thing that I really like about winter, is all the shadows on ice and on the snow itself, especially at sunrise and sunset.
Yeah, 100%. And visually, this is a very unique image because, like I said earlier, there's such a small window of time where you can actually see the water in this state, where it's almost this semi-frozen type of film, right? It's such a small window because either it's melted or it's frozen solid and covered with snow, right?
Yeah.
But like you said, you get this really unique greenish yellow color to it. And it's so cool that you said that, because it's not just all white. There's other colors that end up coming out, right?
Yeah, that's what people think of snow. It's just all white. It's not.
Yeah. Oh, Kate says, gonna share the YouTube link on GCW back in a second. Oh, well, thank you so much. We appreciate the share. You're the best, Kate.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, let's go on to the next one. Oh, okay. We're on to beavers now. There's a beaver on the left side of the frame here, and it looks like there's a dam in the background. The dam's all snowy, and then we've got, and the beaver's kind of on the left side here.
Yeah. So it's just an example of what you can see for wildlife at this time of the year. And beavers are very active in the fall and into the early winter, gathering up. Sometimes they'll be out feeding on some days, but generally they're spending most of their time cutting down small wood and branches and bring them into the water to use as over the winter. They bring them in and then create these big storage piles where they feed from underneath when the whole pond's frozen up. So it's a great opportunity right now, although now it's more frozen up. But as it's freezing up, to see the beavers being very active, and they're so concentrated on what they're doing.
Yeah.
They, for the most part, they won't even, you can get pretty close and they won't even worry about it. They just want to get those, they want to drag those branches into the water and get them before it frees up.
Yeah. Wow. And honestly, even where I live, right here on the Madawaska River at the mouth of Kaliri Lake, now is the time when I probably see the most beaver activity. It's pretty special.
Yeah, in the spring too, it's kind of similar, where they're not dragging the branches. They're just going out after being stuck inside their lodges and underneath the ice all winter, and they're looking for fresh food to eat. And that's another time where it's still like winter. It's kind of like late winter, like with the transition to spring.
Yeah,
so you get the same thing where you see them the rest of the year. They're harder to find, or they're not as active. But yeah, great time now and in the late winter.
100%. Kate has a great question here. Would this photo look different if it was a blue sky?
Yeah, definitely. That's for sure.
Yeah, so like, I guess the water would be way more blue in that case?
Yeah. I mean, you get that's the one. A lot of times in winter, if I can't get out in blue sky winters, the cloudiness kind of, you losing the vividness of light and stuff. But yeah, definitely, like, that's what it's exciting about early winter is you get the snow on the trees if you have blue skies, and you get that amazing reflection. And then of course if you have animals too in the scene, like the beaver and that, then it even makes it better. I think.
That's a money shot right there. An animal, a blue sky, and really frosty snow, right?
Yeah.
Plus open water. Oh, well, that just takes the cake. Very cool. All right, let's move on to the next one here. Okay, so we're looking at two moose. This is a portrait-oriented photo, and they're almost as if they're in single file here. You can really tell it's early winter because you still see a lot of dead vegetation poking out of the ground.
Yeah, just another example of photos that I get in early winter with the wildlife that you can see still. Of course, wolves you can see all year round and in early winter anytime, but they're just really elusive. But I mean, seems to be otters, beavers, and moose are the most common mammals, and then sometimes pine martens too, American martens.
Yeah.
And then a few birds, but a lot of the bears have hibernated. Other animals leave the park area and migrate. Birds, and so it's neat. Moose in the winter and in the snow scenes. I really like just the contrast of their dark fur against the light of the snow, or even sometimes it's interesting that the camera picks up the blues in snow, because when I used to paint scenes years ago, the shadows were not black. I used tones of blue and different tones. So that's what I see when I see shadows. I don't know if that's what everybody sees.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and speaking of tones, Kate is mentioning here the previous photo that was all brown would be a different palette with the blue sky. Yeah, I think it would be, because that blue sky would be basically, the water would look way blue, right, in the beaver photo.
Yeah,
and people, it's funny, people always ask me about moose in the wintertime. It's more rare to see them in the wintertime. Would you say that's an accurate statement, or do you think otherwise?
Yeah, I don't think it's any more. Well, it is more rare than the spring. Obviously, I think the spring is the best time to see moose, although they're not as photogenic. They're rough looking because they got sometimes ticks on them. They're losing their winter coats, but I do see a fair amount of moose in the winter. The nice thing about the snow is that you can see fresh tracks. So, if you see fresh tracks and you sort of hang out, or might be able to track the animal and just try and, give it space though. But it's much harder to find them in other times. But yeah, I mean, you do see them. They're not coming out if you're just driving along the Highway 60 looking for moose. Other times of the year they come out towards the highway, but whereas in the wintertime they're eating branches and they seem to stay more in the forests. So, but definitely I do see moose in the winter a fair amount.
Yeah, I think you've got the luck.
Maybe.
Yeah.
A friend of mine actually was up here, a couple of friends of mine staying in Mute Lake, and they had an experience of two bulls that were sparring over on the other side of the park, and they spent like half hour, 45 minutes with them, and yeah, that was pretty neat. And then other people saw at a different time, I think, saw the same bulls further up from there where they saw them.
Wow. And Kate has a question about this one here. How far away from the moose are you?
I don't like getting too close to moose.
Of course.
I have had experiences where they work their way towards me if they're feeding, and when they're feeding, and if you're quiet and just standing still, they seem to almost not forget about you, but just totally ignore you. And they sometimes move too close to me and I'm moving away from them. So I would have been with a 500, shooting mostly with my 150 to 500, shooting mostly at 500. I'd be fairly far away. And then some of the images too are cropped in.
Yes.
So to make it even look like I'm closer, whereas I'm not really. Yeah, I always sometimes in the moose jams there'll be people 20, 25 feet on the one side of the road. With my lens, I'm usually much further away because it's a zoom lens, and I need to be that far away to get a shot. But also I don't like to get too close to a wild animal that's that big.
Yeah,
they're pretty docile, but you never know, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's a big thing about Howl is the theme of the convention is ethical practices, and maintaining a respectful distance is really important, I think. And kind of what we're trying to do here with our convention is to grow this community of ethically minded photographers as much as possible, because wildlife do get harassed, and it's not really ethical. So we're trying to set the right tone for that. Sorry, what were you going to say there, Steve?
Yeah, and I think too that through the Howl convention, getting the information, then we have a lot of ambassadors to go out there and try and spread the word to people through education and just explaining, because a lot of the times it's just people just don't know, they're used to zoos or petting zoos and then stuff they see on the internet that where people actually are petting moose and stuff.
The bad examples, right?
Yeah, I mean, it looks neat, it's kind of cute and stuff, but
it's actually terrible.
Wildlife it's not it's not always like that. And I mean, we're in their territory, right? And it's really nice to see them and observe them and take photos, but you got to be respectful. And then that's the idea with Howl. Everybody goes away and they can they have the information and the tools to spread the word about respecting wildlife.
Yeah. Oh, okay, so Kate says, OMG, you guys, the previous one, not the beaver one. Okay, so the one before the beaver, interesting. Okay, yeah, going back to that photo with the green looking water, do you think if it is that's a very cloudy day, what color would the water, with that green yellowy water, would that be any different color if that was a blue sky? Okay, sorry, my mistake there, Kate, but go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, no, definitely the water, the changes. I've got photos of where it's really dark because there's no light hitting it, or if it's sunrise, sunset, you get the reflection of that color, so you can get like golden. You can see water that's actually gold, and then you get the blue, of course, if it's blue sky. I think though that yellow is actually in the thin ice, and I don't think that a blue sky on that one would have reflected. I'm not sure because I can't see the photos, but
Yeah.
I think that was in the ice, like it was the color of the ice.
Yeah. It's a great question though, Kate.
Yeah.
And the most important thing in photography is light. Right? So whatever the sky is doing for you, that's going to affect everything you're doing with your camera. Okay. And now so we looked at the portrait style photo of the moose, and now I'm looking at a horizontal one. This is the same two moose, it looks like, is it?
Could be. I mean, I take a lot of photos of different ones, but yeah, very possible. I try to take, like, some people, you got to try and get different positions, like shoot from down low, up above, vertical, horizontal, just to get different compositions and to make it more interesting. So, and sometimes you get so excited about taking photos you forget to do that, but it's always good to keep that in mind. So yeah, it could be the same one, I just changed my positioning of the camera to get a different composition.
And you know what, even some of my, back when I was a wedding photographer, that was definitely in a workshop I attended, the mentor totally used that same advice: get high, get low, get near, get far. And that really opens up your creative potential, right, when you're shooting. So I think that's amazing advice. And of course, don't get unethically close to animals.
Yeah, well, with a zoom lens, you have the ability. If it's fixed one, you don't have the ability. But mine 150 to 500 is I can zoom in and out, so I can make it look closer, further, without moving too much. The other thing too, with taking photos of wildlife, is to pay attention to the background too, because sometimes it might be cluttered from one view, and you could walk 10 feet over and you have a much nicer background. I know when I first started out, I would just, it's a moose, and just start taking photos without paying any attention. And then after a while, because they don't usually move around too much, especially moose, but sometimes if an animal is moving around, it's hard to get that good background. But with a moose, it's pretty easy, and you can just walk a few feet over and get a much better background.
Totally. And what you just said there, like changing your position to declutter the background, that's also straight out of wedding photography workshops as well. For any photographers that are watching out there, it's the easiest thing you can do to improve your photography is, you've got your subject, whether it's a human or an animal, and you don't want, like if you could get a less distracting background, right? That will help your subject pop a lot more, right?
So that's kind of neat thing about early winter and winter is that you lose a lot of distractions because of snow and ice that you see at other times for the same landscapes. So you get sometimes I don't know if I put it in these photos because I think it was in more of a winter, but it was a fox on a snowbank, and when I took the shot, it's basically it's just the fox and the snow, and and the background is even white because it's blurred out. And that is very effective for like as a minimalist photo that makes you focus just on the animal. So if I got that same shot at a different time of year, you'd have a lot of distraction of the ground and other things and trees. So.
Exactly. And Kate says they need to dress warmly if they haven't done winter photography. 100%. Yeah. Do you have any tips for? I find it the hardest thing is the fingers. The fingers get so cold, right? I don't know. Is there anything that's worked for you?
I it's not really. I mean, I end up always just taking my glove off on my
Yeah.
finger and getting cold. It's just, but like having the warmers, hand warmers, so you can warm your hand up, or they do have heated gloves now.
Yeah.
But I haven't found a glove that is perfect for being able to shoot with without taking it off. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you need like definitely good gear, like winter gear, boots, hats, gloves, layers, good jacket. If you're going to be cold out there, you're not going to and you're not comfortable, then you're not going to have fun and enjoy it. And then and depending on what you're doing, if you're snowshoeing too, you're generating heat or hiking. But yeah, I definitely got to be dressed for the occasion, for the season. And yeah, and but I mean, winter at night too. Sometimes we've gone out at minus 30 and done night photography. And biggest thing there is like the battery life is not very long, so we don't usually stay out too long, and it is cold to be able to out there at that time of night. But
yeah,
you can do it, and you get good, nice, clear skies in the winter because you don't have humidity or dust in the air like you do it in the summer or the fall at the other times of the year.
Yeah. And the next photo that we're looking at, this looks like a, I don't know, maybe it's a yearling moose, and it's walking. There's a snow in the background, but the reeds that it's walking through are still sticking out. Which is really cool. It's just it's so cool to see that juxtaposition of the winter snow, but then the vegetation, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, contrast with that, and that was actually the mother of that yearling. It was not even a yearling because it would have only been 7-8 months old, and it was right beside it, sort of away from those reeds, and that the calf just kind of walked in behind them and just sort of started walking through them, pushing them away, and sort of walking towards me, and then turned and went over to the cow.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was neat. I got a bunch of shots actually with the vegetation and that moose, and that was just the one I gave you, but I had a few others of it. And different, right? That's the other thing, trying to get photos that are not all the same. So I liked it.
Yeah,
because it was
that's
different.
The biggest thing, right? How do you?
Yep.
What are you doing to make your photos stand out, right, and not look like every other wildlife photo, right?
Yep.
Oh, Mario's here. Hello, Mario. Welcome to the photo stream. Mario's asking, are there any wolves in today's presentation?
I didn't put any wolves in this presentation, no.
Not in this one, but Steve does have a very good wolf portfolio.
Yeah, I do have some wolf shots, and I mean, the one that is more well known for other people is the one with the two wolves, with the beaver lodge, and one's on top of it.
Yeah. And
that was maybe I'll do that in the spring when we do a spring late spring or late winter, early spring live stream.
Yeah.
And I'll put that one in for that because it's always a nice one to see, and it was an amazing experience. But no, I didn't put wolves in this one, but I have been seeing a lot of wolves tracks. I haven't seen too many wolves in the last couple of years. Once in a while, but there was a couple of years there where I was seeing a lot more wolves.
Yeah, very cool. Mario's actually a professional zookeeper, so he's got a natural interest in animals.
Oh, nice.
And he asks, so any bears? I can't remember if you have bears in this one, but Steve does have lots of bear photos.
Yeah, again,
early winter, they're hibernating, right?
Yeah, they've just gone hibernating, so I do have a lot of bear photos, but not from early winter.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we're going to be doing these photography live streams once a month. And we're doing it to promote the Howell Wildlife Photography Convention, which will be happening November 3rd, 4th, and 5th in 2023. So I'll definitely make sure that you hear about when our other photography live streams are at, and especially if we have any where we can anticipate wolf or bear photos, because Steve and then some of the other photographers that will probably also share photos on our streams here, that's totally the kind of imagery that they have in their portfolios.
Yeah, everybody was busy tonight, so it's we didn't have a lot of other people, but I think the next one in January, people will have more time, and we should have hopefully several photographers with their work on the live stream.
Thanks, guys. Greetings from Hunt. Okay, Mario. Okay, maybe this is the wrong. Maybe I'm confusing you with a different Mario. There's another Mario that I know is a zookeeper, but I don't know if he lives in Huntsville. So my mistake with the mistaken identity there. But anyways, yeah, cheers and thanks for stopping by our stream here. The photo that I'm looking at is this is a beaver looking straight on the camera, square with the camera. You can see the nose. It's kind of in the bottom left of the frame. Mm-hmm. And it looks like it's munching on vegetation in the water there.
Yeah, so that's just another example of beavers coming out at this, well, probably a little earlier than this time in November.
Yeah.
And spending time. They do spend some time eating. I've see that, but like I said, generally most of the time they're cutting down branches and taking them into the water for storage. So, but it is a good time. Early winter, late fall, early winter, and then again in the early spring it's the best opportunities to see beavers like out of the water.
Yeah. And yeah, I love, I've said this already maybe 2 or 3 times, but just seeing the vegetation poking out of the snow, I love that. I think it's so cool.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Wow, amazing focus on that one too. Ooh, everybody's favorite, otters. We've got 2 otters here. One, it looks like it has something in its mouth.
Yeah, those otters we saw over by kilometer 21, which is there's a little pull off there near just east of the art gallery, and we stopped there, and I looked over and I thought, oh, I think there's otters there, and they popped back up there, but they were pretty far away, so we actually they would go under the ice, and then there was kind of a little trail probably much closer to where they were, so we kind of moved a bit, and then they'd come back up, and then we moved a bit more, and we were able to get much closer to them, but still far away. And then they kind of just did that for quite a while. They would pop up, and then sometimes one or both of them would have something. They'd eat it on the ice and then go back down, and then a couple of times one would pop up in a hole, and the other guy would be still up on the ice, and he would slide over to the other otter on the ice, which is kind of neat. And then later on, they went under the ice, and then they popped up, and they were closer to us, and then they popped up again right in front of us. There's a little bit of open water, probably 15 feet from where we were sitting, and they both stuck their heads up and looked at us for a few seconds, and then went back under, and then sort of under the ice to the other side of the stream, and then came up a hole on the other side. And I think they were just having fun, and they knew they were like right in front of us. It was almost too close to focus on them. And they weren't worried about us at all. It was great. Really amazing experience. Nature's entertainers, right? Yeah. They are just so, for those of you that have been lucky enough to see wild otters, they are just so entertaining. Yeah, they seem to really like to have fun. Yeah. Kate, the next photo live stream, we were actually just discussing that today before we went live. Monday, January 9th. And 7 p.m. is probably when we're going to, 7 p.m. Monday, January 9th will be our next photography live stream. So you can put that on your calendar. And we'll also be advertising that
probably this week or next on our Howl socials as well. And Kate is also asking, is Steve taking me out in Algonquin Park this winter?
Sure.
Well, you
Sounds
know
like
where
fun.
Steve's restaurant is, so I'm sure
Yeah.
you can arrange that.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Otters. Amazing. Okay, we got a super close-up here of a way adorable squirrel. And now is this yeah, what's the story behind the squirrel photo?
So which one's this again? Because
It's a squirrel and it's on a branch. It's on a really small, thin branch.
oh, okay. Yeah. There was a couple ones that I was going to send. I can't remember now because I can't see them in front of me. But yeah, just another subject that you see in the winter, another animal, right? That you often see along with some of the other birds. Like, I can't remember exactly the story, but of it. But yeah, sometimes they see to ignore you, or if you're in a spot where birds are fed often, then the squirrels come there, and then the squirrels are wanting to get fed too. But I'm not sure in this one case that was it. And then sometimes the squirrels, if you get right up there, they'll just start yelling at you because they don't like you or whatever to get being that close. So it's hard to say, but they're fun. They're interesting animals.
Yeah, they're very territorial. You're right. They will actually scream at you.
Oh yeah, I've seen like squirrel fights where it's two of them, or sometimes three or more, and they're all just running around chasing each other away.
Yeah. And then Mario says this must be a red pine squirrel.
Right.
I would think so. That's
red squirrel, yeah.
Yeah, red squirrel. Okay, red squirrel.
Yeah. And I saw like that was the only squirrel we used to have here, but in the last couple of years I had seen two black squirrels, which are actually gray squirrels. One in my parking lot ran across the highway, and then another one in the south, like near the 127. I've never seen gray squirrels, these were both black squirrels, but
yeah,
that's another example of climate change, where the climate's much warmer up in this area than it used to be even 25 years ago when I moved up here.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're starting to see more and more southern animals. Won't be long we'll be seeing possums around here, I think, the way things are going.
Yeah. And Michael Runce's presentation at Howl 2022, there were a couple slides at least where he talked about that with, I can't remember specifically what kind of insects that they were, but he did point out, like, yeah, I saw these insects and they were like way north of their range, which is obviously tied to climate change.
Yeah. The range is changing.
The range is changing, sadly. Ticks, that's another one too. This used to be not an area for the bad kind of ticks, but I think they've been reported as North Bay.
Wow.
Okay, all right, and here we go. This is a really funny one. This is a moose. You can't really see the body of the moose. It's almost like it's just a head popping out of the foliage.
Yeah, it's it was in behind some trees, and I was taking some shots, and it wasn't great. I mean, it's kind of neat with the snow and the trees and the moose, but then at this point it just kind of popped its head through a spot, and I was able to get like the close-up of the head, and I couldn't find it. I'll find it for another presentation, but I have one of it yawned, I think.
And did you catch it?
Yeah, it has a
cool.
really distorted face. It's really interesting, but I couldn't find the photo on my computer. I know it's there, but I don't know why I couldn't find it. But anyway, I'll have that one for another presentation. But yeah, it was neat. And then it did that for a couple of minutes. It kind of stuck its head through the branches and then turned around and carried on to eating what it was doing.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, very cool. And of course, we're going to be doing one live stream per month. Our next one being on Monday, January 9th at 7 p.m. So yeah, some of these photos that Steve's talking about that we're not seeing today, we'll definitely be seeing them at later live streams. And of course, today's theme being early winter photography. And yeah, this one with the moose and the head just popping out of the foliage, I think it's just such a perfect early winter photo. You can see the green plus the white, and then of course you have your animal as well.
I put that one on a card, actually, a greeting card, and it's people were buying it like crazy. They really loved it. So it's
That's
nice,
so cool.
winter theme, Christmas theme card.
Oh wow, a beautiful fox. The fox is kind of in the upper left of the photo here, and it's not looking at the camera. It's just looking off to the side. What's the story behind this one here?
Yeah, that was actually along the highway. It was the fox was actually out on the highway, which is not good. It wasn't very busy.
Yeah,
because it was in late November, early December when I saw that. It was a few years ago, and I'm not sure because it didn't seem like there was anything there. And then when I stopped, and it ran off, and and into the embankment, sort of from the highway, and I got out and I was able to get a few shots of it, and it was kind of just walking around, and eventually it just sort of went into the forest. But I was able to get some shots, but it's just foxes really look amazing with in the winter with the snow.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, a real contrast of the red, of the orange, and the white, and sometimes if you're lucky, if it's actually snowing, you can get them with the snow on their faces or on their body, which is even neater.
Yeah. They just pop over top of that white snow. It's so cool.
Yeah, and the snow kind of like makes all the distractions, covers up a lot of distractions, so that you get a totally different shot with snow than in that same spot than if you would at a different time of the year.
All right, so that finishes up Steve's the photos today of the Algonquin Park landscape and Algonquin Park wildlife. Now we're going to visit. He's included a few photos here, early winter photos of Iceland. So
yeah, something different.
Something a little bit different. Yeah, still early winter, so we still have that really unique combination of snow, but then areas that are where you can still see soil, you can still see rocks that is not covered with snow. This one here, it's either a sunrise or a sunset way in the distance, and it almost looks like a crater, and it's very orangey and yellow.
Yeah, so that would be when we went to Iceland, we went into the western fjords, and then also traveled around the highway that goes right around Iceland. And everybody thinks Iceland, maybe it's because it's called Iceland, is cold and snowy and icy, and it's not really. The southern part of Iceland and is actually much milder winters and climate than what we have here. This area here, the northeast is the northeast, and it's very active volcanic area. And also it was the area that we basically only saw fresh snow on, other than the glaciers and stuff, which most of the center of Iceland is glaciers. But it was really neat. You were seeing like steam coming up from the hot springs and very volcanic activity, and just a little bit of the snow. And I just thought that it was amazing, like the contrast. Another place I went to is kind of neat, where I got snow and red rock, was Bryce Canyon out in Utah. And I mean, not just Bryce, but anywhere, a lot of southern Utah, they have all that red rock. And then I've been there a couple times when there wasn't snow, and it just was way more interesting and exciting to see it with snow. Same thing with the Iceland. And this was end of October, first couple of weeks of November when we were there. So early winter, although it was very mild, I think, even for their their temperatures. It should have been colder, but it was neat. Yeah, really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, it was sunset is when I got
Okay,
those.
so this is the sunset.
So that was the crater would be an old volcano. Or
Very cool.
yeah.
It doesn't even look like planet Earth.
No, it doesn't look like another planet that you're on. That's
Yeah.
what we thought when we were wandering around. Wesley and I went.
Yeah.
Went there.
Yeah. Kate's comment about the fox, he looks healthy. And I agree. Yeah, sometimes those highway foxes, it's kind of sad. You can find ones that look very scraggly and the tails are affected by mange and such. So it is definitely nice to see foxes that do look healthy. And Kate also says, wow, as we just came upon this photo here, the crater.
Yeah, the Iceland one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was neat. It was a really interesting place to go to. And I mean, night sky was amazing. We saw first week, it was clear every night. We saw northern lights every night. And then we had a break in the second week where it was cloudy every night. So we just focused on landscapes and any wildlife that we would find. A lot of horses. There's the Icelandic horses. We took a lot of horse photos. Yeah, it's just incredible. But this northeast section was amazing. Like there was just like steam coming out of the ground in all different places. They had a geothermal like spa swimming pool thing there that we went to. Was really neat. And yeah, it was really interesting.
Wow.
And it was neat that the snow we were at the time where it was just starting to get snowy there.
Right. Yeah. Early winter, right?
Yeah, early winter.
Very cool. Okay, the next Iceland photo that we're looking at here, this is, I think, a geyser. It's in the left of the frame, the bottom left of the frame.
Yeah, I think that one is definitely same area, and just a little more of a spot where the steam was coming out even more so, and creating really neat effects. We didn't actually see any geysers there though, like down like Yellowstone has or wherever that is, out that way. Old Faithful, all those geysers. Yeah, we didn't see anything like that. I don't know. I'm not sure if they are there and we just didn't go to that area, or if they don't have that or not. I don't know.
Very cool. Okay, and then this one. Oh, okay, definitely Northern Lights in this early winter photo here, and the Northern Lights are kind of off to the left here.
Yeah, is that with the glacier, like the?
It really looks like I was going to ask you if it was a glacier.
Yeah, in the background. Yeah,
I suspected
the spot where the glacier is. That the water. There should be a reflection, right, in the water.
It's an amazing reflection. Yeah, it's the Northern Lights in the water, right?
Yeah. That was pretty neat. That's the Glacier Lagoon in south central Iceland. And yeah, just like I said, that was during the first week, and we just go out and we just pick different locations because we knew that the Northern Lights were going to be active, and we would just try and find different spots that were interesting to go to see as a background or foreground, like subject matter. And then the lights, they would appear. It was incredible.
Yeah. Mario says, "Dancing spirits in the sky." I agree.
Yeah,
that's
great title.
That's a beautiful metaphor to describe what the Northern Lights are.
Yeah.
And that frozen water is just, it's like it's lighting up. It's so cool. It's glowing. It looks like it's glowing. That is so cool.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Wow. All right, and the next one here, is this the same one as the first one?
Yeah, I think just same spot, but at a different time. Where we were there for maybe an hour or so, and the light, it was, it's constantly changing. How a sunset is, what it does, and sometimes after the sunset the sky lights up the most, and it just got better and better the longer we were there, for the light in the clouds and that. So just amazing place to be.
Kate says, different kind of sky. Yeah, it is a different sky.
Yeah.
Same subject, different sky.
Yeah.
It's so cool. It's so cool. And you know, I was making this comment earlier about how light is everything when it comes to photography, and this is a great example of that. It almost looks like a whole different photo, and the only thing that's changed is the lighting.
Is the lighting.
Yeah.
Same location, and like when we first got there, it was not crazy exciting. I mean, it was neat and that, but then later on, it started to actually snow when we were up there photographing these scenes, and the lighting just changed and changed and changed, and it was so interesting.
Yeah.
And one thing about Iceland, at that time, the sun doesn't get too far up in the horizon, and you almost have like your sunrises and sunsets last a long time. Where here, maybe this time of the year, you get a little slower sunrise, sunset, but it happens faster. And they're like, after a couple, 10 o'clock in the morning, you still get sun so low in the horizon, it still looks like a sunrise. And but it's like 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, so it's kind of neat. Like, you didn't have to rush anywhere for it, because you knew you'd have lots of opportunity to take different subjects with the sunrise or sunset.
Yeah. Wow. Just amazing. Yeah. Oh, Rodri, my friend from Peru is watching here. Oh, Rodri, nice. You tried to enter earlier, but for some reason I couldn't. Oh, I'm not sure why that was. Oh, I'm sorry about that. And we're going to be doing another photo stream next month, and I'll make sure that you know when the date, actually, it's January 9th. It is a great photo. Yeah, no, this is my friend Steve, who is in the top right corner here. Steve took this photo in Iceland, but you can definitely watch. The video will be saved on our YouTube channel here, and like I said, our next photography live stream will be on January 9th at 7 p.m. But thank you, Rodri, for joining us, even if it is a little bit of late. And then Rodri's saying, here's an idea: streaming, hiking, and taking photos live. That is another kind of a neat idea. Yeah, Steve, that's something else we could do one day, is actually take a live stream of us going into the forest and doing some photos, right?
We could do some night sky stuff, and do a live stream of it. That would be fun.
That would be cool. Yeah, no, thanks for sharing that great idea. And I can't recall how many. Okay, I think that is the last one.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the last one here.
All right.
So awesome, great.
We'll have to come up with another theme, for a new theme for the January one. And that.
Yeah.
Not sure. I don't know if anyone has any ideas, but they can let us know.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And it's anybody can participate in these Howl photo live streams. We really do want it to be a collaborative experience. And we want to network with other passionate wildlife photographers, especially those that care about ethical practices, about not harassing animals, maintaining a safe distance with animals, not disturbing the environment, and trampling over sensitive vegetation and things like that. So we'll and I saw that Kate was going to do give us a shout out in a couple of places there to promote our next live stream. Thank you so much, Kate, for doing that for us. And of course, on the Howl.
That's great.
Yeah, thank you. And on the Howl PhotoCon socials, we'll also be reminding everybody about our next one.
So I just realized somebody was asking about wolf photos in behind me. I don't know if you can see it well, but there is a photo of a wolf there. How's that working? Can you see it?
It's a little far, but
a little far. I can't get the computer any closer.
Yeah, that's
anyway,
okay.
It was that was from last year. It was an early winter. I could have put it in with these, and there was a beaver activity in the area, and that wolf knew we were there. It was a little ways from us, and it looked at us a couple times, but it was really interested in going out onto the ice to this one spot, and it went out there a couple times. So we managed to get some shots of it, and the ice was it just formed. Like, it couldn't have been much more than an inch thick or so. And
wow,
I mean, I went down later after the wolf left, and I sort of with my boot kicked it, and it didn't take much for me to break through it, but it was able to get out there and look and kind of we'll go over to this one spot, and it did that a couple of times, and then eventually it left and went actually went around this little lake where we were, and it popped out at the other side, and then all the way around. Saw it in a couple other places, and then finally it disappeared. But that was another amazing experience. So maybe I'll put that photo in another presentation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're going to do this once a month, so there'll be lots of opportunity for you, Steve, to share some of your really, really special moments that you've been able to experience out there in the wild. Okay, we have some questions here, and I'll read them out to you here. Let's see here. Are there northern lights in Algonquin Park in the wintertime? That's a question from Kate.
Yeah, definitely. It's generally the nights, or you get, like I was saying, that you have less humidity and less haze and dust in the atmosphere, so the sky is much more crisp and clear, and when you do get the northern lights, yeah, pretty nice. I've seen them a few times, definitely in the winter. We just had, not long ago, there was a good display of northern lights, but unfortunately I think it was cloudy and raining here.
Of course.
It was earlier in November, but yeah, definitely it's I've seen them out in the winter.
Yeah, that's great. I think I have seen them once in the wintertime as well. I was fortunate enough to. And then we have some other comments here. This is from my friend in Peru. Today I did a presentation, the last important school task. And after that, we ordered some food and played soccer, basketball, volleyball, and my math teacher, and that was really fun. Well, congratulations on wrapping up your presentation there, Rodri. And Mario says, thanks for sharing. Merry Christmas. Oh, Merry Christmas to you too, Mario. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Merry Christmas.
And Rodri also says, why did you create a secondary channel instead of doing this on the Bongo Picks channel? Well, I might as well take a moment to talk about Howl again here. So the reason for that, Rodri, is because this is my second business. This is my other business that I have. So I have Bongo Picks as my main business, but then my business partner here, who's in the top right corner, Steve Dunsford. Steve is a photographer, also owns a restaurant in the village of Whitney, and we organize something called the Howl Wildlife Photo Convention. It is a gathering of passionate wildlife photographers who care about ethical practices. And this is Howl is going to be in November 3rd, 4th, and 5th, 2023. And so we created this YouTube channel because it is attached to the Howl brand. So that's why I've got the Bongo Picks one and then a separate Howl brand here, because it's all about wildlife photography. So yeah, that's the answer to your question there. Okay, Kate also says, Merry Christmas, great stuff. Merry Christmas to Steve and Bongo and South Algonquin. Well, thank you, Kate.
Merry Christmas, Kate.
Yeah, we do have some lo-fi music on. Yeah. So this is a new project. Well, when did the first Howl was in 2019. Yeah, Bongo Picks and Steve's restaurant, those businesses did come first. So this is a pretty new project, I would say. But our first convention was in 2019, and then our second one, the most recent one, was in 2022. Of course, we didn't have one during COVID. So the objective of this channel is to promote your event. Exactly. Yep, that's exactly the objective.
And then also have fun, and on these streams we're going to, anyone that, you don't have to be a professional photographer. You can, whatever the theme is, you can put together some photos, email them in, and be a part and show what, maybe if you're in a different part of the world or the country, that would be amazing, because early winter is different in different places, and whatever themes we have, and it would be great to have more people involved, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Rodri, I don't know if you have any wildlife photos from Peru, but if you do, you could even join us here. All right, and then what else does Rodri say here? Growing takes time. Yeah, exactly. And you would have to stream here somewhat frequently. I would say once per week at least. Well, it's Howell does have a community already built in, and I really like the pace at which we're growing at. So I'm not too worried about that. Kate says, I'm going to send some photos of otters popping on my dock. Are you? Yeah, send them to me now.
Awesome.
Are you going to send them to my email? How are you going to get them to me? You can email me at howlphotocon@gmail.com. Who's the owner of the channel? Me, myself, and then my business partner, Steve, here. Oh, pooping. I'm sorry. Kate says, I'm going to send you photos of otters pooping on my dock, not plopping out on my dock. That must have been a Freudian slip moment where I saw the word. I'm like, she didn't write pooping, right? She wrote popping, but that's funny. If you want to send me those photos, hey, animal scat is a big deal in the world of naturalists and biology, so it's still a significant photo. And, you know, I totally take pictures of animal scat. Totally. I don't know. Do you do that as well, Steve?
Yeah. And sometimes, like, you know, you're taking photo of an animal, like a moose or something, and it's like just part of what happens, right? In the middle, you get those photos, right?
I 100% agree. It's part of life. And it's a significant thing. I mean, yeah, biologists study animal poop. It's they are little devils. Yeah, they're clowns and they're devils both at the same time.
And it's also a good way for tracking too. Like it's not just tracks footprints, but also scat is a good way to know which animals are around, and then you know, if there's, you know, if it's wolves because there's fur in that, you can see, you know, parts of what they've been eating. Exactly. Bear will have at certain times will have blueberry seeds in their scat. So
yeah. There's a lot of significant information in poop. So thank you, Buddha Monkey, for raising the conversation. And yeah, if you ever want to share any of your otter poop photos, please do let us know.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe we'll have a whole stream dedicated to scat.
That could be a theme.
Yeah, that's right, Rodri. So this is a collaboration between myself and my business partner Steve here. So we both stream to this account. We could, and that's another idea that we could do too. They are little devils. And why are we streaming on YouTube instead of Twitch? We thought about going on Facebook, but you know why? It's because so at Howl, we have a virtual component to it. Actually, Kate, who is Buddha Monkey right over here, Buddha Monkey was actually attended our convention virtually. So and the way we do that is through YouTube. So YouTube is the virtual extension of our convention. So that's why we use YouTube.
I don't even know what Twitch is. Like, that's something that you do in your body or something. I don't know. I haven't even heard of it. Twitch is a streaming service. It is, and I'd say 80% of Twitch is video games, actually. Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's neat.
And it's really cool. Yeah, I am a Twitch streamer as well. That's actually where I know Rodri from. Kate says, okay, guys, I'm signing off. Be in touch. Have a good holiday. Take care.
Yeah, you too.
Take care, Buddha Monkey. Take care, Kate. Right on. All right, so we're in the stream wind down here. Any other comments that you want to make, Steve, before we sign off for the evening here?
No, I'm not going to think of really, other than looking forward to January 9th, and hopefully we'll get some more people that can submit some photos and be a part of the stream too. So it's always interesting to see people's work of what they're doing, and from, especially if there's people from in other parts of the country or other parts of the world, it's even more fascinating. So I'd love to see some photos from the guy from Peru. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Did you hear that, Rodri? You need to send us some wildlife photos, okay? We want to see some photos from Peru. we're more comfortable with YouTube, exactly. Streaming video games on Twitch is better because it's more popular, because wildlife photography is kind of niche, at least in streaming. YouTube and Twitch seem kind of the same. Yeah, so there's no real downside. Yeah, exactly. I'm very, very confident that we will get more photographers joining us in our live streams here. Speaking of which, again, I said this earlier, the next photo live stream is going to be Monday, January 9th at 7 p.m. Eastern. If you haven't followed Howl PhotoCon on Instagram or Facebook, definitely follow us on there. We also have a YouTube channel. Also, the handle is Howl PhotoCon. So 100% get connected with us. And please do raise your hand and reach out to us if you do want to participate in the next one. We haven't decided on January's theme yet, but we will publish that to give everybody a lot of notice so that they can all go through their portfolios and get all of the photos that they need. Right on.
Great.
Okay,
Awesome.
so we are going to sign out. And Rodri's last question here, what kind of content would you stream here? Wildlife photos and landscape photos. So any photography, it's a photography focused stream, all about the natural world. It's a little bit more based on animals, wild animals, but also we do look at quite a bit of landscape photos here as well. All right, well, cheers to you, Steve. You can sign out of the Google Meet whenever you want, and I'm just going to put up our stream ending broadcast page here, and thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you for all your comments and your questions. We'll see you for next month's live stream. Goodbye, everybody.
Night.